Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to our program, Agriculture and Technology. Here we are at Yugachik, and allow us to take you through the process of keeping fish for business, how they prepare the feeds, or how the different feeds are applied or are fed to the fish, and then we shall go on. Madam here is going to explain to us step by step on how we shall handle that. Thank you so much. So, can you introduce yourself, your name, what you did, probably education if you want, and then what you do exactly here, and then we shall go to this.
Thank you very much. My name is Rite. I work for Yugachik Poultry Breeders Limited. I studied fisheries management and technology from Fisheries Training Institute Entebbe. Then my bachelor's degree is in agribusiness management. So I've worked for Yugachik for 10 years now. Yugachik is a producer of many feed types, animal types. The poultry feeds, we have dairy feeds and fish feeds. Fish feeds we do produce for catfish and tilapia, mainly with the Miracap. But as we talk now, we have brought samples of our feeds, which are in different particles and sizes with percentages of protein. First of all, this is a bag where we package our feeds. It has a pictures of fish types. This is catfish, this is tilapia, and this is the location where Poultry Breeders Limited main farm is located. It is in Gayaza, Namlongi Road, PO Box 12337, Kampala, Uganda, and all the emails are here. So on the other side of the bag, it's where the quality information is written. So we have to label it in a way that a customer will understand it. The feed we are producing is for cages and catfish grower, and this is a 30% protein. It is for tilapia, for carp, that is Miracap, and catfish grow out in tanks, in ponds, or cages. And the pellet size is always written in this space. Or the approximate analysis is this part. It shows the protein content. This is 30%. Then the fat content is 8.5. The crude fiber is 8.0%. The ash is 7. Moisture is 11. Down here is where we put the lot number of the feed produced, and here we have to put the date of manufacture of this feed, because we are sure the farmer has to feed this feed, has to use it at least for 3 months. So that's why we always put a date when we processed the feed.
So after the date of production, after 3 months from the date of production, it gets expired.
Yeah, it may not be expired as such, but we expect a farmer at least to have it when the ingredients, as you have seen, they are still intact. We hope that they go on reducing as time goes on in store.
Wonderful.
We expect a farmer to be having fish of different sizes, or if it is a starter farm, you should be having a size that will feed on a certain particle among these types. So as we have packaged, this is 40% crude protein and is in powdered form. Meaning this one is supposed to be fed to a young fish of 3 days to a week. Yes. And this is for the hatchery, mainly for the hatchery operators, either indoor type or outdoor type. They either be tanks in a building like this one, or zubjas in a house like this, or they are ponds organized in a way that they are supposed to be breeding ponds, where you have parent stock, females and males. Then you always select, every month you select the young ones, separate the babies from their parents. Then you put in nursery ponds. That's where we use these different sizes. So when you have your fry, you call it fry at that stage, you have it in a different pond, in a nursery pond. That's when you can always feed with this. And this will take for, you use for the first week. Then when you go to the second
after first week, you shift to another
level. Size. But the protein content in the feed is the same, but the feed size, all the particles are different. And we hope that after a week or two, you can even continue to 2 weeks, but the mouth of the fry is growing bigger and it is able to pick a bigger particle.
That's why that one is becoming bigger.
Yes, this one is bigger than this one. The 40% crumble, a bigger particle than the powder, will take us up to 10 grams. When our fingerling, now we are calling it, it is from the fry size, now it is a fingerling. So we are stopping at 10 grams, this particle. Then we go on to the 35% crude protein, 2 millimeter size, and it is a pellet. This is a pellet. In fact, this one is floating on water.
They keep floating on water.
Yes. So when you're feeding,
fish come down and keep picking from
and
the
we
surface.
are expecting the size to have learned how to come up
and catch.
Because from that size, I can train them to come up on the surface and concentrate in one position as I administer the feed.
I guess.
So this is 2 millimeter, 35%, and it is from 10 grams to 100 grams. When your fish is 100 grams, we shift to another size of pellet. This is 3 millimeter, but the same percentage of protein, because we expect the fish is still in need of a higher protein for it to grow bigger, for the body to grow bigger. So this is 3 millimeter, 35%. From here, this is from 100 grams to 200 grams. So when your fish is 200 grams, we expect them to grow bigger, to have grown bigger. So we are introducing them to a bigger pellet, which is 5 millimeter size, but of the same content of protein. This is 35% crude protein. And we are feeding this one from 200 to 250 grams. So we expect that when your fish is 250 grams, mainly tilapia, you can begin looking for customers. So we have now a finisher type. We call it the same size, 5 millimeter, but a 30% crude protein. This is our last type of feed in the rearing period. So this one is fed from 250 and above. I will not limit the size because I don't know when you are going to sell. Market price, market sizes are different. You may get customers who need a 250 piece, 300, a half a kilo. No problem, you continue feeding with a 30% 3 millimeter pellet.
Thank you so much. We're blessed to have you explain these feeds because we know we have been having a challenge of producing feeds that sink. So what advantage do we have in such feeds that actually remain on the surface or float?
Yeah, the advantage of a floating feed, you are able to monitor your fish. Because a sinking feed will go down on the bottom of the pond. You will not tell whether the fish has finished the feed or whether they are really eating, have they eaten. But with a floating feed, you train your fish to come on surface. You may reach at the pond or the cage, then you make a sound, any sound, they come on surface, you feed little by little as you're looking at the feed floating on the surface. When they finish, you keep adding more and more. So there's little wastage using a floating feed than using a sinking feed. And for example, if you are in cages, we are encouraged to use a floating feed because if you use a sinking feed, you may be polluting the environment. And we are not allowed to do so. That's why all the first stages I've shown, these are a hatchery section, which we expect you to be either in your hatchery inside the house or in the ponds. So even if they sink, no problem. At least we are sure you are not polluting any environment.
Okay. Now, I was very much interested in knowing averagely, like if you come here, this is a mature fish. How much does that averagely each mature fish take? Because I'm looking at the cost of buying feeds for all this, whatever number you are having, and I'm trying to look at the cost implication.
Yes, we expect a farmer who knows what to do to have used 750 grams from here to here for a table size fish. That's what we call it, because that could be between 300 to half a kilo.
You call it table?
Yeah, table size. So we expect a farmer to have used 750 grams. In fact, if you go beyond that, then you either have wasted your feed or you got a lot of mortality and you will not make
So you want to tell me that there are disadvantages with overfeeding?
Yes.
So you have to measure for specifically the amount of feeds the fish can consume and finish without allowing the feeds to settle down and eventually pollute the habitat.
Yes.
Oh.
For this size of fish or feed, we are supposed to feed up to 4 or 5 times
A day.
a day. In fact, this fish is like a baby. A baby is given little by little. You can even breastfeed 10 times a day.
So we every 2 hours,
yeah, every after 2 hours, you put very little by little. For when you reach here, you expect to feed 3 times. Yes. Even here, they are still on 3 times a day. Then when you go on after like 4 months, 5 months, then you can feed it 2 times. You are sure when you feed at 10 in the morning, you can go there at 3, 4 in the evening, then you make sure your fish is satisfied.
For example, if you are feeding the averagely mature fish, what would be the best timing? Do you go like early morning and then evening? Would that be the best?
We need to feed when the temperatures are still high.
High?
Yes. In fact, the water temperature should be high for the fish to eat very well or to respond highly. We expect you to feed at 10 in the morning because we expect a temperature beginning to raise. So you should also feed at 4 in the evening when temperatures are still high.
So if you feed early in the morning, it's a disadvantage?
It is a disadvantage because the water is still cold and the fish are not yet active.
They are kind of in hibernation, I understand. That's wonderful, because those are some of the key areas that we need to understand. The temperature and all that kind of thing. Sometimes when you're explaining to local people may not understand, but when you give the explanation, they begin to get it. So that was a very good, elaborate explanation. So how long does a fish take until it's from when it hatches from an egg up to when it is harvested?
Maybe to elaborate a bit first. These two, or the first one, may not be for, we have hatchery operators and we have grow out operators or farmers.
Grow out, you mean what? Like taking them to the field where they're supposed to grow from?
Yes, taking them to a rearing stage, because this is a nursery stage.
Okay.
Yes. So we always separate them. When I say the period of rearing, I'm beginning either a hatchery operator will prepare the young ones up to from a 0 day to 3 months. Then a rearing grow out farmer will take a fish from either 2 to 3 months. Then he will also take his 7 months to sell. Yes. So we don't always count for the 2-3 months of the hatchery operator, because I don't know what took place here. The rearing period here, I don't know. But I'm sure
as a farmer,
I know when I took this fingerling at 3 grams, at 5 grams, then I've reared it for 7 months and I sold. So mainly the rearing period takes 7 months.
Okay, wonderful. So within 7 months, I'll be enjoying the money.
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. Probably if we can look at the costs. What are the costs? In other words, if I'm preparing, what this cost will help give us the budgeting line when I'm going to start. So how much do you sell in kilos or whatever? And how much would it be?
Briefly, I may not break it from this to this and that, but when I'm talking to a business person who wants to begin a business in fish farming, I always tell them, you are going to spend 2,500 per piece after the rearing
per
period.
fish?
Yes, per fish.
2,500.
Yes.
So you mean
And
for
that is on
2,500 Uganda shillings
Yes.
is the amount of money that I'm going to invest in this fish, and then I wait for 7 months
Yes.
and get it out of the water.
Yes.
So when it gets out of the water, how big is it?
Tilapia will be between 300 to a half a kilo. And we expect this to be sold at between 4,000 to 6,000, different markets.
4,000 to 6,000. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much. We were privileged to have you and explain to us all that information, which I believe farmers will pick and will surely help them in doing business and as far as agriculture and specifically fish cage farming is concerned. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you too. Thanks for coming.
Welcome. Okay.